This affordable MIDI controller unlocked the SP-404 Mark II for me. Let me tell you all about it as soon as I shout out today's patron, and that shout out goes to Gunnar Birkland. Thank you so very much for the support. All right, elephant in the room. Yes, Synido did sponsor this video, but please don't click away. This isn't going to be a review or anything like that. This is going to be me telling you how I personally use the TempoPad C16 with the SP-404 Mark II in this live rig. It's not going to be me telling you to go buy this thing or telling you that your life is going to be incomplete if you don't buy it. That being said, if you do want to buy one, there is a link in the description as well as a 10% discount code. But again, please don't feel obligated. This is me telling you how I use the TempoPad C16 with the SP-404 Mark II. So now that we've addressed that, let's leave this over here for now and talk about the SP-404. You probably already know this is an incredibly versatile piece of gear that can do so many different things. But the issue with it is that you can't do a lot of those cool things at the same time. For instance, you can't control the parameters of two different effects at once. You have to switch between them like this, or switch between your effects buses down here and then adjust the parameters. You also can't play samples at the same time that you're switching patterns. That's a completely different little screen or menu. But did you know that you can do many of those things at the same time with the 404 Mark II via MIDI? That's where the TempoPad C16 comes in. A couple of months ago, Synido sent me their Tempo Key W25, and I've really been enjoying using this thing, especially with the Woov box. That's kind of my go-to way to Woov it now. It has a few features that really stuck out to me. And then I discovered that they also have the TempoPad C16, which has a very similar feature set, and it has the three main things I love about the Tempo Key, just in a pad controller format. So I was actually about to email Synido and ask if they would send me the C16 when they emailed me and said, hey, do you want to check out the C16? And I, of course, said yes. But I also asked them to sponsor this video because I knew that the three features I'm about to talk about would be right at home in the live rig and I would get pretty excited about it, which is what happened. So while I am pretty much only going to touch on three major features of the TempoPad in this video, there are others. It does have, for instance, like wireless Bluetooth MIDI, which is pretty cool. It's also got a keyboard control mode, and it has a step sequencer, which is neat, cool to have. Nothing that really I need though. So if you're after those features, it can do them. However, we're going to talk about the three features that I've been using with this setup. Now, I know these three features that we're going to touch on are not exclusive to the TempoPad C16. I'm just going to say C16. But I believe it's the only device that actually has all three of them together. I could be wrong, but I do believe this is the only thing that can do the three things we're about to talk about. The first one is that this is battery powered. It's actually got an internal lithium-ion battery, and you don't have to have it plugged in to use it, which is really great. You can, of course, and it just charges via USB Type-C, or you can just, leave it plugged in, but you don't have to because it does have an internal battery, which is how we're powering it right now. Synido claims that it gets 10 hours of battery life, and I've actually ran 3 drain tests. I came up with 9 hours and 41 minutes, 9 hours and 47 minutes, and 9 hours and 39 minutes. So pretty close to that claimed 10 hours. And if you're playing a gig that long, anyway, just please plug it in. You actually already just got a sneak peek at the second function we're going to talk about, because while it can do MIDI over USB Type-C, it actually has physical MIDI I/O thanks to these TRS MIDI jacks. And don't worry, it does come with adapters as well, but you get MIDI in, MIDI out, and MIDI through. It's rare still these days to find a MIDI pad controller that actually has physical I/O for MIDI that's not just USB. It means that you don't need a host device to use the C16 with any hardware, which is excellent. So I do believe just those two features, the built-in battery and the physical MIDI I/O, make it unique. I could be wrong, but if not, I'm really certain that this third feature pushes it over the top. And that third feature is that you can program this device from the device itself. Sorry, my camera is not agreeing with the refresh rate of the display, but all I have to do is hold the main knob here and press a pad. I can adjust the pad's parameters. I can hold the main orange knob and wiggle one of these, and now I'm adjusting those parameters. I can hold it down and move a fader. Now we can adjust those. Same thing with these buttons down here, and actually the transport buttons as well. They're all custom assignable. The 8 knobs here can send either CC messages or pitch bend. The 4 faders down here can send either CC messages, program change messages, or pitch bend. The 12 buttons down here can send either CC messages or program change messages. The 3 transport buttons there can send either CC messages or MMC messages, which is neat. And then each individual pad can be programmed to either send MIDI note information, CC information, or program change information. And that can be different for each pad, and each control actually can send on a different channel. So it's very customizable. You don't need a companion app at all. Side note, there actually is a companion app and it works as expected, but you don't need to use it outside of, I believe, updating the firmware. These features combined mean that without having to plug this thing into power, I can just slap it right here on the little hardware stand I made, plug in my MIDI connections, turn it on, and start programming it to control the SP-404, which is what we're gonna do today. So I've got some placeholder samples on the 404 Mark II for my original song, Mystery Hour. Again, these are placeholders, these are not the final samples. So what we're gonna do is program a few patterns into the SP-404 Mark II, and then I'm gonna show you how I change patterns with the TempoPad, as well as trigger samples, as well as control the effects. Also, one thing I forgot to mention, you actually get 4 pages of pads, which gives you a total of 64 different pad messages that you can send. And you get the same 4 banks for the control section over here as well. So you get 4 banks of those. Okay, let's get into this. So the way this song starts is with these 3 chords on the offbeat. So it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And with this rig, what I like to do is kind of play everything live once and then trigger it, either a loop of it or a pre-sequenced pattern. So in this case, I want to have a pre-sequenced pattern. So let's go ahead and do that. I've already got the BPM set to 74. Let's record a pattern right here. We're gonna go for 2 bars. I'm gonna set quantization to full. We'll do it in real time, that's fine. 2, 3, 4. Okay, perfect. There's our first pattern. Now, this is typically where we would find ourselves up against a bit of a challenge because, like I said, I like to play a part first and trigger the pattern, but I can't do that on the 404 by itself. I have to go to 2 different pages. Now, unfortunately, the SP-404 does not let you start patterns via MIDI without actually like syncing clocks and stuff like that. I can't just set one of these to trigger a pattern and have it play it. So we do need to start this one out in the pattern page on the SP-404. But now how am I going to play those chords? Well, pretty easily. I'm just going to put them over here. I think I want to put them on these 3 pads right here. So to edit the first one, I'm going to hold down this knob and stretch my finger because I'm holding the camera and get it right there. Hopefully you can see the display. I can now pick my channel, which I know is going to be channel 5. That's what I have my SP-404 Mark II set to. And then the note number, I'm actually not very good at this part because the 404 has kind of strange note mappings. So it's gonna be a bit of trial and error and kind of awkward while I'm holding the camera. Okay, I found it. It's right there, it's note 24, which means I can now edit the other pads. So I'm gonna move it over, go to channel 5, you get what we're doing, pretty easy. This is gonna be MIDI note number 25, and this one's gonna be 26. So now I can do this. I can count in my head, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And trigger the pattern. And the nice part is I won't be holding the camera, so I can use my other arm and hand to trigger that pattern. But the drums also need to come in with the downbeat of this pattern here. And like I said, I like to play drums. So I'm gonna put the drums right here. Again, the beauty of this is I'm just doing it on the device itself. I don't have to be sitting at the computer trying to figure all of this out. Okay, kick, let's put the hat right here. And we'll put the rim click right here. Okay, now, So now I want to program a second pattern that actually includes the drum pattern that I'm going to play. So let's copy this one into slot 2 here, and we'll go in and record this in real time. We can actually do that via these pads too. So we'll record 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now we have the pattern with no drums and a pattern with the drums. But here comes another cool thing we can do. We don't have to rely on this pattern page once the song is started, because we can actually send program change messages with these pads as well, which is how the SP-404 Mark II changes patterns. So this is going to be pattern 0, this is going to be pattern 1. So to make this easy, let's just put it right here in this top left pad. I don't know if you can see it, but for this pad right here, we have it set to channel 5, and it's going to send program change 0, 0, 1. So let's start this pattern. And now when I hit this pad, look at that. We're switching over here. Pretty slick, right? So now as soon as this pattern is started here, we can move our attention over to the Synido. I'm putting the camera down just for a second. Hopefully this works. So I'm going to count in my head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Get the next pattern queued up. There we go. So next up, we actually bring in the bass, which is on these pads right here, and I kind of want to leave it there, which shouldn't be a problem at all. Let's copy this pattern into a new slot here. Going to select A3 and hit Pattern Edit, go to Menu, and go to Duplicate. So now it's 4 bars long, which is going to mean that we can record our bass line in. So I'm going to do that really quick. I messed it up a little bit, but that's okay for the purposes of this video. I don't really mind. Let's set this pad here to trigger the next program change. So note type PC for program change, channel 5. Note number, or program change number rather, is just going to be 2. Remember, these are all placeholder samples, so if you don't like how it sounds, I'm sorry, but that's just how we're working right now. I like to work with simple samples to get things started, and then we'll replace all the samples in the 404 with the final ones once we're done. So here's what this performance looks like so far. Obviously it needs some practice, but that's the thing about live performance. I'm going to practice until I get it right. Now let's talk about sending CCs to control effects. Okay, effects time. How do we control them from the TempoPad C16? Well, we can hold down the knob here and simply wiggle a knob or move a fader or press a button and be able to change what that controls. And then if we look at the tablet here, Roland actually gives us quite a bit of information when it comes to triggering effects, as well as other things on the SP-404. But yeah, you can trigger things for like DJ mode in the looper. And then if we get the specific reference, we can actually see we have the ability to select individual effects. However, this actually leads me to one downside of the C16, and it's something that I hope Synido can add in the future. Right now, you don't have the ability to send a specific CC value from any of these 12 buttons. So let's pick, say, this R button right down here. I can tell it that I want it to send a CC message type. I can tell it I want channel 1, and I can tell it I want to send on CC number 83, but I can't actually tell it what value I want to send on CC 83. That means that unfortunately I can't directly switch effects. That would be really cool if Synido implemented that. Unfortunately, it's not quite there yet, but don't worry, there's still quite a bit we can do, because we can actually still control the individual effects themselves and still toggle them on and off. So here on bus 2, I've got the DJ effects looper currently active. Let's see how we can toggle that on and off. If we look right here, we can see we need CC19. So let's set that to the R button here. So I'll select it and I'll go CC19. When it comes to effects on the 404, pretty much everything on MIDI channel 1 is going to be bus 1, then channel 2 is bus 2, channel 3 is bus 3, channel 4 is bus 4, and channel 5 are the input effects, which is really cool. You have the option to work with that. I also just realized I want to go to channel 2 because we're on bus 2. So now we're on channel 2. We don't have anything turned on. If I push R, look at that. DJ effects looper is on. Now it's off. Now it's on. Now it's off. I'm actually going to set this to channel 1 though, because I want it controlling bus 1 on this first channel here. And then over here, we'll go to bus 2. So we'll set that also to 19 and we'll go channel 2. Now we're toggling the looper on bus 1 and bus 2. Doesn't stay on screen very long, but you can see how easy that is. Again, if we could adjust the actual CC value, then we could specify individual effects to turn on and off too, which would be really cool. Because you could have this one be like your DJ looper, this one could be your stopper, this one could be like a reverb or a synced delay or something, and you could cycle between them. That would be really sick. Now what you could do is use these faders to scroll through your effects. So let's set that up. We want CC83, channel 1. And now as I move the fader, you can see it's changing through the different effects there. Let's see if we can at least get it to toggle between two different. I didn't even think of that until right now. That might work just fine. So the stopper is 13, so I'm going to set the minimum value to 13, and then I'm going to set the maximum value to 14. Okay, so we can switch between tape echo and stopper for bus 1 with the fader. That's pretty cool. So you can kind of fake some tight control over which effect you have, but where the actual control comes in is by controlling the effects themselves. So let's take our DJ effects looper here on bus 2. With the DJ effects looper, we've got the switch for on and off, we've got the speed, and we have the length. So I'm going to go ahead and set all 3 of those to these bottom 3 knobs right here. By consulting my chart, I know that control 1 is going to be 16, 2 is going to be 17, and 3 is going to be 18. You can actually access the second page from MIDI controls as well, which is really cool. So for this knob right here, we know we want to be on 16, the value of 0 to 127. With this knob here, we know we want 17. And with this knob here, we know we want 18. And that's going to be the one that turns the looper on and off, in addition to this toggle down here. So let's go ahead and pick some samples to send to bus 2. How about every melodic sample? So our 3 chords, and then all the bass. Okay, cool. Also important to remember to set your MIDI channels properly. I didn't have any of these on channel 2, which is important. Okay, here we go. Remember, I've got the master toggle right there too. So as you can see, we've got full control over our effect there, even though we can't see it on the screen of the SP-404. Now the cool thing is that we could do multiple at once, even for a different effect bus. This is going to be the last thing I demonstrate today. Let's put a filter on bus 1, okay, which bus 1 is, at this point, just the drums. So we'll hear that filter affect the drums, and I'm going to put the filter cutoff control right here. Cutoff control is the first control, so I want this to actually send CC on number 16, and I'm going to set minimum to 0, max all the way back up, and it's sending on channel 1. So let's go ahead and test that. Clearly working just fine. Brings a lot of life to that, actually. We could also put like the drive here, you know, really whatever we want, but let's actually make this a control for bus 2 now. We'll keep bus 2 the DJ FX looper because I think it's a fun effect. So I'm going to make this fader here the exact same control as this knob here, since that's what's controlling the speed of the DJ FX looper. So right here, we're gonna go CC17 channel 2. Okay, 17 channel 2. Let's make sure that works. Yep, works great. But now with these two faders, we can control two different effects buses parameters at the same time. Check it out, filter cutoff of effects bus 1 and the DJ looper speed of effects bus 2. I forgot. Bit of an awkward presentation, I know, but I'm holding the camera with one hand. And I just wanted to give an example of some of the stuff you can do with the SP-404 Mark II and a MIDI controller. And of course, the MIDI controller I just so happened to showcase today is the Synido TempoPad C16. Three major standout features of this MIDI controller, to me at least, are the battery power, the physical MIDI I/O via TRS in the back on a battery-powered pad, and then the ability to program everything on device. It really makes it so easy to just stand here, especially if you don't have to hold a camera with one hand. Grab a tablet or your phone or something with a MIDI implementation chart for whatever other gear you're working with. You just go to town on it. You just figure out everything you want to do and program it in. It's so simple when you don't have to use a companion app, you don't have to worry about power, and you're not relying on like USB MIDI or anything like that. Yeah, I've been really enjoying this thing for a couple weeks now, and I'm going to continue to do so. You're going to continue to see it here on the channel as well. Another huge thank you to Synido for not only sending the TempoPad C16 out, but also for sponsoring this video. And most importantly, thanks to all of you for watching. If you did enjoy this one, be sure to leave a like on it. If not, you can always leave a dislike. That's okay too. Doesn't hurt my feelings, just makes me try that much harder next time. Either way, be sure to hit that subscribe button, ring that notification bell. Thank you all so very much for being here. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.